All right, thanks all. Welcome on a Tuesday night. We normally have our tech workshops on Wednesday, but thanks for accommodating. I'm Cynthia Kao, the Executive Director of Operation Code. Welcome if this is your first time to Operation Code. If you heard about us through the grapevine, we're a 501c3 national nonprofit that's focused on helping our transitioning military veterans and military family members grow in their tech careers. And we do that through one-to-one mentoring, scholarships, ongoing professional development, which this workshop is part of tonight, and then building paid apprenticeship to hire roles within tech enterprises. So tonight we have a guest speaker, Erin Agobert, who is Air Force veteran and also a member of Operation Code. And she's going to talk a little bit about her development work, especially regarding Salesforce. So first we'll start off with Erin, talk a little bit about your military background and your transition.
Oh, yeah, great. Cynthia, thanks for having me. Everyone else, thank you as well. So I'm Erin Agobert, and I am currently at the moment a freelance Salesforce developer and administrator. Excuse me. I was in the Air Force. I did about 4 years there, and I was a meteorologist. So as far from what I'm doing now as possible. After getting out of the military, I then mostly worked for the federal government, working grants and contracts and budgeting and just a number of different things, but mostly in grants and contracts as well. And then one day I decided to change careers. I realized that I actually liked working on the grants and contract systems more than I like actually working in grants and contracts itself. So I became a career changer. I started trying different things, taking Code Academy, seeing did I like to, build things, trying to understand it, trying to figure out could I do this full time. And then one day I decided, hey, let's try this as a boot camp. So I went to a boot camp where they taught me full stack development, which is on the front end and the back end. So some HTML, some CSS, some JavaScript, and then whatever the back end, bringing anything back from the database. Well, that sounds like, hey, that didn't sound quite like Salesforce, but it was a kind of a short road getting into Salesforce from there. I had been familiar with it, talking to people about it in my office in the federal government. There were people who wanted to purchase it and I had no idea of it, so I had to research it. So I kind of knew once I got out of here, I had an interest in learning about Salesforce after I learned full stack development. And so what ended up happening is I went to work at a consulting firm called Accenture. And there they train you in a number of different things and they have a Salesforce team. I wasn't initially put on the Salesforce team when I got there. I was put in a number of different areas because kind of the nature of where consulting is until they decide they have a demand somewhere. So I created the demand. I got myself certified in Salesforce administration and Salesforce development, and another one as a platform app builder. I joined Salesforce military, which is a group I'll explain to you a little bit later. And I ended up going to a conference, the Trailhead DX conference, where my company was a sponsor at that particular year. And so after all of that happening, I ended up getting transferred to the Salesforce team and working there for some time. And it's pretty much been on the go since then. So I've been doing that for I'm almost going into 5 years now. And this year I became a freelancer working for myself, basically as a consultant as well too.
Okay, I have to ask because I've done that transition from military to gov to contract to then working for yourself. Was it terrifying? What was your thought process when you decided to leave the safety net behind?
So I'm a workaholic. So and consulting loves workaholics. So you can get a little burnt out. So for me, it was a decision that had been long in the making. This was initially what I had wanted to do when I went into tech in the first place. It was just trying to put everything together and deciding on it. I'm a planner, so somewhat a planner, let's just say that. So I had savings saved up and all that. So it wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. Once I put my name out there and said, hey, this is what I'm doing, I found my first couple of clients very easily. Now I don't know if it's going to continue that way, but but it was easier than I thought it was going to be. I was nervous um, to even do that, like say, hey, I'm a freelancer. This is what I'm doing. This is me. But once I did it, it makes it a lot easier too.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to have you get started. I have probably a ton of other questions, and so do the folks here, but we'll tackle them after your presentation. So feel free to take it away.
Okay, great, great, great. Okay, so today is just pretty much an introduction to Salesforce. Since we're all veterans here, I wanted to make sure that I kind of gave a brief introduction on it and give you an idea of how to get into the career field. And so I have a couple of topics here that we're going to discuss, and hopefully I can zoom through them or not and give you enough time for questions. And I love sharing information, and I actually I love Salesforce. So and you'll see why, or you won't, I don't know, in a moment. And hopefully you feel the same way by the end of this presentation. Okay. Like I said, we're going to go over a few things, and one of them is, what is Salesforce? Who uses it? What tech careers can you get into by joining into the ecosystem? How can you yourself jump into it? And what does a day in the life of a developer look like? A Salesforce developer, okay, specifically. Even though it won't look too much different from a regular developer, but there are some small things. Okay. Oh, and then some question and answer, of course. Oops, sorry about that, everyone. So next slide. So Salesforce is a customer relationship management platform, specifically a cloud platform. And what does that mean? That means that, hey, you're working remote, you can just log in. It's right there on the internet. There's no physical premise at your company's office. It's all in the cloud. Okay. Customer relationship means that they want to combine all of their various departments that would typically have some sort of data silo. So that could be sales, services, marketing, commerce. I even stuck in there IT and admin, even though I don't specifically mention it itself in terms of customer relationship management, but it's a necessary portion because a lot of data gets generated through all of these various departments. And that data is managed through the various support offices administratively, as well as IT, as well as some of the various contacts and leads and documents that are created by those various offices of sales, service, marketing, and commerce. So Salesforce itself, by having all that information brought in, provides basically a 360-degree view of their customer through data. And that could be through anything. So I said again, the documentation that is generated by dealing with their customer. So when when a customer creates a complaint case, they send an email looking for information. The marketing team generates a lead. They went out to a conference and they talked to someone. The customer purchased after they talked to that sales lead, and they created an invoice, and they continue to do that for 12 years. How about, let's just say 12 years, that's a lot of data that comes in. And so Salesforce, as a customer relationship management tool, allows I keep wanting to say client, because for me it's a client, but the customer, so for me as a developer, the customer is whatever company is purchasing my services, but it will allow them to take all that data and just produce a lot of information. They can determine where they're having issues at with their customer to improve any inefficiencies that are happening. They can create automations because maybe their customer is getting very annoyed by something that is occurring during their purchasing process. And they find out that through the complaints that are coming in, that they can improve something that will make the clients much happier. So a lot of their products are based around creating those efficiencies in those various areas that I mentioned in the previous slide. Okay. So they have some primary products, and you can see I have some of them underlined, most of them underlined, in fact, because there's maybe about 2-minute video for all. I'm going to show you the top three. Okay, this is about 2 minutes because to show you pictures of Salesforce wouldn't quite do it justice. Salesforce is an extremely large product. Their main product is Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, and Experience Cloud. And anything else that they provide is usually mostly a grouping of these particular products and some additional enhancements based on certain industries and things like that. So I'm going to just show you for the top three, Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, and Marketing Cloud, what those look like. Okay. Cynthia, can you guys see the video? Or
Not
see
yet.
it pop up? Okay. In theory, this doesn't work the way I needed it to. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so I'm going to share the new screen. Okay.
What would be cool is if you could instantly move a pointer when you're presenting to like present another tab or something on Zoom. I think it's a Zoom
Right.
limitation.
I'm not, well, yeah, it may be. This is honestly, unfortunately, everyone's my first time. I'm playing around with Canva. I'm having fun with it, but it doesn't work in theory the way I need it to, but it's gonna work eventually. You should see on your screen a video. Do you see it?
Yep.
Okay. So this is for Sales Cloud.
We don't hear audio though. Was there supposed to be audio?
Yes.
I think when you
Okay.
share, there's a little box that says share sound. Like if you stop sharing,
That
then
is
you
a
share
Zoom
again.
limitation.
Yeah. We're developers. We're like, how do we improve this thing?
Okay. So much better next. So, okay. The frustration of tech. I love it. Okay. So let's see what we can do. We're going to share the screen. Advanced sharing options. Hey, Cynthia, while I get that up, do you mind reading that question that I see pop
Yeah.
up from Kevin?
Kevin said, what roles have you seen eliminated or downsized since Salesforce Einstein AI was introduced?
Really, none yet.
I guess that
And
also that also feeds into, I think, the whole AI ethics, right? Like a lot of folks are worried that, hey, are we going to get eliminated? And what roles is it going to replace? I think, just in my opinion, AI makes things more efficient, but it doesn't necessarily replace someone's entire job, because if you've ever used ChatGPT on a very rudimentary level, it still needs a lot of human coaching. It still needs a human to read over the prompts and to teach it. I think we're still at the beginning stages, but we still need humans to actually teach and create machine learning modules and algorithms and review things before they go live. So there's always going to be a human behind code, but I think it'll make the job, like writing code, a lot faster and a lot easier, and then more robust. There might be like other things that you can do, other features that you can implement. But I don't think in total the jobs are going to go away because of AI. I think jobs are going to pivot and shift. Erin, did you have a specific answer for that?
I think your answer was really great. and we can actually, I can tell you how I've been using it so far. Well, one, Salesforce has so many various products that you could be working as a developer and not touch Einstein. Okay. It's a specialty. So each product in itself is a specialty, unless you're working as a consultant, where consultants, they'll get a task. You don't know what the client's going to ask for, that kind of thing, and the task will come in, and then one day they'll say, you know what? We got a task that's going to do Einstein AI. We don't have anybody right now that does that. Are you interested in, or they know that you're interested in working on that? So then you get it, and somehow you it ends up becoming a specialty of yours after you do it. And that's the joy of consulting. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if I'm saying that sarcastically or not, but if you're like me, who likes a challenge and picking up a lot of different things, that works out great. And then I don't have to worry so much about stopping and completely focusing on that. But what I have been using it for is just to play around with it. I've been doing the same thing, Cynthia. I open up ChatGPT and I start asking it questions, and then I start getting more specific. And then and it's only as good as the information that's fed into it, similar to Salesforce itself when we talk about data. So, and anybody else in any other system where they start talking about data, the system is only as good as the data. And since it's right at the beginning stages of this particular application, I wouldn't worry about it. If anything, we'd be moving towards inputting more information, because it's a data monster, right? And I think, yeah, I've used it. I've actually tested it out to use it. I haven't had a client particularly ask for it. They know it's kind of in its beginning stages. I think a lot of tech companies are jumping on the bandwagon, and they're trying to sell it. But I don't think a lot of clients, maybe some of the bigger clients are, but your small and medium-sized businesses, I don't see it so far. Okay. So can you guys see the screen now?
Yep.
Okay. So when I had switched the screen, the sound went out for a second. So for me, I can hear you, Cynthia, and then it started. So we're going to try this, fingers crossed. Okay. And I'll try and stop it and go back to the screen after that. It's only 2 minutes. And I'll try and go through this quickly. Okay.
Sales team develops the new skills they need based on proven best practices, allowing your team to work more. Sales Cloud lets you build business resilience and create growth with the world's #1 trusted sales solution. First, as a business leader, you can easily get insight into your business so that you know where to focus your efforts and make decisions based on market changes. You can visualize and redistribute your customer territories, shifting your sales coverage to meet changing market demand. Then quickly update sales processes to adapt to change with drag and drop tools, and scale to sales reps instantly. So your sales team develops the new skills they need based on proven best practices, allowing your team to work more efficiently from anywhere. Also, sales reps can manage deals from a single workspace and track every customer interaction from a single source of truth, the Customer 360, powered by AI to boost productivity and guide deals forward, while configuring the deal to meet every customer need with flexible pricing, terms, and payment methods. Lastly, scale your business through partners, bringing them up to speed quickly so they can start to close deals just as fast. Quickly adapt and build business resilience and growth from anywhere with Sales Cloud.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Okay, so that was Sales Cloud. That's one of the primary. So when Salesforce first got started, they were basically Sales and Service Cloud. And Service is the one I'm going to show you next. Sales Cloud is so simple, and you'll start seeing they're going to look very similar. They're not much different because everything is basically the tables that are in the database on the back end. Okay. So the views are still basically the same and what they do, but it's what kind of data can you store based on each one. So in Sales Cloud, it's, hey, for their sales teams, they also have a field service cloud as well too, that is still basically the same version, but it allows their sales team to take, I said field sales cloud, service cloud. Now I'm getting mixed up, but I might as well go ahead of myself. So field service cloud, which allows their sales or their service teams to go out and basically use the same application and work directly with the client so they can get immediate service. So like when you see Comcast go out, Spectrum, your cable companies, you'll see that. And more than likely, at least one of them has a Salesforce instance. Okay, and they're using Field Service Cloud as some sort of custom implementation of it for their staff to use with their customers. Okay, so quick show you. And now, okay, and now I'm going to show you Service Cloud. I see some more questions in there. Okay, Service Cloud is pulling up.
Service Cloud lets you quickly adapt to change to deliver trusted service from anywhere. First, scale your support by providing customers with self-service options. Here, they can resolve simple issues with access to guided processes and find answers to frequently asked questions. Then, customers can start a conversation with intelligent chatbots that can answer their questions, hand them off to an agent, or even take actions like making account updates to resolve issues immediately. This frees up your agents to focus on more complex support, like calls about billing issues, with each issue pushed directly to the right agent using AI and your routing rules from any channel. And it's all inside a single workspace with cloud telephony natively integrated, so agents can deliver trusted support from home or the office. Customer 360 also unifies data across departments and integrated systems, so they have a complete customer view for everything. Quick access to knowledge articles keeps agents up to date, while built-in AI recommends the right article or next best action to either help the agent or share with the customer. Agents also have access to automation tools like macros or step-by-step processes like issuing a refund to resolve problems faster. Meanwhile, supervisors can coach their teams from anywhere with real-time conversation monitoring and actionable analytics. And when customers need support in the field, like roadside assistance, your field service team is equipped with an intelligent dispatch console, prioritizing essential jobs first, matching them with the right resource. And it's synced with an intuitive mobile app that has all the customer information and processes needed to complete the job safely and efficiently. Finally, respond to changes in business needs with agility using drag and drop tools. Adapt quickly to solve customer issues faster from anywhere with Service Cloud.
Okay, so that's Service Cloud. So again, you can see that a lot of it look kind of similar together. And that's those are out of the box.
Recently, and for no reason at all, I asked Mint Mobile's
Ads.
legal.
No, Ryan, you always get me. Okay.
So you're saying they're out of the box solutions? Like, can you customize which screens or the parameters that you're seeing?
Yes. So Salesforce has a premise because their selling point for their customer is low code. But in reality, what ends up happening is that a lot of the clients want customization. The bigger clients really want customization. They don't want their site to look like everybody else's. So then that's where someone like me comes in. I'll come in and that I may customize that site. So those partner pages that they keep mentioning on the two videos, that is actually Experience Cloud. So Experience Cloud allows the client to create a customer community, a partner community a customer support community. It includes templates. I'm not going to show you the video. That's why, because it's highlighted, but I'm pretty sure I didn't include a link for experience because of that. So I might have it just underlined. So I don't want to fake you out there. I'm going to fix that and resend it to you. But those partner sites are very important because those are the ones that are usually what the customer is actually seeing. And then those internal pages that you saw are actually for staff. So but you can expose those pages in the community sites if they want them to out to their customers. And then you can customize those pages as much as you want to. You can still use, I'm still using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and any other third-party libraries in order to create the sites for them. It just has some things that are out of the box that you can do, right there. It may have a component, but then you can modify the component how the client wants it to. And if they don't want to use the out of the box component and use the minor changes you might make to that, then you'll make more advanced changes for them. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. And I could show you Marketing Cloud, but that's more of analytics, but there's a CRM analytics as well too. I don't know if any of you have heard of Tableau. If anyone
I love
has.
Tableau.
Me too. So
Did
Salesforce
Salesforce
Tableau.
just buy them out? I wasn't, I thought they were like two separate companies.
No, Salesforce just bought them out. They were two separate. And when I learned about Tableau before they were Salesforce and trained on that. And then Salesforce purchased it and I was like, yay, okay. So they have another product called Einstein. That's the one you keep hearing about for AI. They've combined it, and honestly, it's called CRM Analytics right now, but they keep changing the name. So they changed the name when they got Tableau and combined it to something else. It went from Einstein to I can't remember what the other one was, and now it's CRM Analytics. It's the same of them, but now that everybody's going on the AI bandwagon, I believe it's Einstein AI platform or something like that. When I went to the site. So we're going to leave it at what the name is right now, which is CRM, but it's those two products. And Einstein is the one that's more like AI, which I'm sure it's going to have, trying to remember what their chat GPT, quote version of it is, but I'm pretty sure that's part of that platform as well too. In terms of it, but basically your data visualizations, inputting of data to determine any other additional information on your client. I particularly worked on one where the client was, it was working with basically Field Service Cloud, where the client had a custom Einstein component, and the Einstein component took in the sales data, looked at the products that the client had purchased over a certain period of time and recommended new purchases. So when the customer service agent or the field service agent opened up the application and opened up to that client, it would always show them a recommendation of products. In this case, it was alcoholic beverage products for the client. So I thought that was pretty neat. So again, these are all specializations. So you could be working in Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud. Marketing Cloud is definitely a specialization as well too. We are kind of getting short on time, so maybe I won't show you the last one unless you guys are really excited for it. I'm always excited to show information. So, okay, but I love data visualization, so that's a great one. Then you have Commerce Cloud as well too, and that's for their business to business and business to consumer commerce. So basically, your Shopify, not Shopify itself, but your site that's selling a product. Okay. I'm selling t-shirts, I'm selling mugs, I'm selling whatever product. That's the kind of sites are created with Commerce Cloud. So it's a combination of offerings, including some form of being able to make a shop with it, as well as some form of analytics as well too. Then you have MuleSoft, which is it's supposed to help you with APIs. I don't use it as often. I do direct coding of of it. Because again, these are separate, it all depends on your client and whether they want to purchase it or not. Slack, I know we're all familiar with Slack because Operation Code is on Slack. Salesforce owns them as well too. So Salesforce has a lot of now has integrations, of course, now that they purchased Slack, integrations between Slack and their Salesforce instance. When I say Salesforce instance, Salesforce itself also offers, since it's in the cloud, it's what they call a tenancy. Almost think of it like renting space in a way, right? Because you're paying them for a certain period of time for it. Client, it's a company, so they're going to be paying for it for maybe 2-3 years, and then they'll negotiate another contract. But the important thing is that it's a tenancy, so it's basically they get a piece of the cloud. They get a piece of the server, if I think about it this way, right? But if you ever see Salesforce explain it, they'll explain it like an apartment building. So they'll say it's a tenant environment. So everybody's sharing what's there. They're sharing the utilities. They're sharing the data, and it has certain rules in it that a developer and even an administrator might have to understand a little bit in order to make sure that you're servicing your customer well and making sure there are no stoppages in how their data flows, how their customers are being serviced. Okay. So, second here, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna share. I'm gonna get the hang of this, Canva. Okay. So it has 2 screens, so that's what you guys see me flipping back for. So on a normal presentation, you would see 1 screen. I go to presenter. It just wants to torture me today, and that's okay. It's Tuesday. Okay. So again, when I share this, you feel free to click on any link. So anything that's highlighted on this presentation has a link attached to it, so that if you want to come back and look at it again and get a clear reference to where things are at, and you just want to take some time and look through it some more, because it doesn't really do itself justice, because this is just a small offering of what Salesforce has. And so depending on your interests, if with Salesforce, you could specialize in different things. Like, so what I said, you want to do data analytics, so then you become an Einstein developer instead. So I just call myself a Salesforce developer because, again, I've been working as a consultant. And so I never know what the task is going to be when it comes in. I try to work on various things because I just love to try different things. Okay. Okay, so these are some of the industries that are using, the industries and the companies that are actually using Salesforce. And there are so many more than this, but I'm just throwing them out there. Okay. So we've got the government, and I'm not just talking about the United States federal government. We're talking about governments all over the world, and that's local as well too. They're using government. They have a special platform called GovCloud that meets or at least for federal, called GovCloud, that meets their requirements that are needed. So they have additional security requirements and things like that. So Salesforce has created a cloud to meet their needs. Then we have health, who also has a health cloud. Education has an education cloud. Manufacturing, retail, financial services, I believe it's called Financial Services Cloud. And then nonprofits, they have a cloud now, as of this year, I believe. Before, they just had a package that was installed on top of Salesforce that gave them additional things that they needed. But nonprofits are pretty special. Salesforce loves to give back. So they offer nonprofits a free Salesforce instance And I think they get about 5 licenses on top of it with it. So they tend to be a pretty popular service for a lot of the consultants as well too, because they have free, but they may not have the money for a dev or some sort of analyst to set up their implementation or things like that. Then you have utilities as well. So gas, coal, energy, whichever one you want to go with. And then we got some of our bigger ones here. We have, for companies, we have Delta, Amazon, Chick-fil-A. I saw that one. I was kind of excited. Okay. L'Oreal, makeup company, Home Depot, the General Services Administration, which is basically the main buyer of the federal government. That gives you an idea. And the VA, who just, not just, but maybe over the past few years, have a implementation going on to basically fix, I'm not sure if that's the best word to use, but fix our medical record system. So a lot of the things that you keep seeing, your pages are changing, the login is changing over at VA, is because they're working on it on the other side on Salesforce end. And it's a Salesforce, it's a Salesforce instance, basically. So it's a lot of work. It's very big. It's a lot of money. You can probably take a look at that contract on the General Services Administration site, because more than likely that's where it is. Okay. I thought that was pretty cool. Okay. If you were interested in careers, there's more than just working as a Salesforce developer. And like I said, depending on what, you can either specialize in Salesforce in general, kind of like I do at the moment, or you can start, being more specific, plus the career path that you're interested in. Okay. So you can be a business analyst. They work on requirements. You'll see business analysts used in a number of different ways, but mostly they work with the client more. Okay. The client and the developer, they may be the go-between. I've seen them in different ways. So I'll just kind of throw just those out as a general, but there may be more things that they do. Salesforce administrator, so they do making sure the people get their usernames and passwords. They do, when there's releases with Salesforce, they handle that. They do the maintenance on the site. A lot of specific things as an administrator, but basically managing it. The Salesforce developer, like I said, again, you could be doing pretty much anything. You could be troubleshooting one day on a component or page, internal or external, that's not working, or you can be creating something custom. We're also kind of treated as administrators sometimes, or a lot of the times, because again, you have to look towards low code first, since that's the premise. Usually, again, depends on your client. But think about it, if you had a government client, more than likely they're looking for low code first, and then they're looking for custom later. Okay, so it all depends on your client. You have a quality assurance tester, just like in other developer jobs. A general consultant, which the consultant and business analyst sometimes go hand in hand. They may be the same job. Okay. Even the developers, when you go to work for a consulting firm, are called consultants, because in a way we also meet with clients as well too, and discuss options for them when there's a problem, when there's something new that they want to do. We have to be familiar with the product as well too. A systems architect and a technical architect. There are other types of architects as well too, but those are two of the main ones as well. Like an identity for logins and how to set that up. They'll plan all these things that are needed. And I think the bigger the company is, the more likely you are to see the separate individual architect positions. Cybersecurity analyst is mostly new. They weren't really advertising that so much before, even though it's necessary. They were probably hiring just a general cybersecurity person, but now Salesforce has a certification for it, and they're actually identifying it as a career field. A specific marketing consultant.
So Erin, are all of these different roles different pathways that you can get certifications for?
Yes. And
Salesforce?
yes. You will see it's a lovely, lovely, lovely thing. Okay. As well as user experience design. That's the one that's got me personally excited. Um, there's some other ones that are like experience cloud developer. That's one I kind of specialize in right now. And that's the certification I'm working on. I'm working on next. So, and then I'll be moving on to user experience designer. So I'm pretty, I love it. And we have an additional benefit as veterans when it comes to certifications. And I'm coming to that in just a second. Okay. But if you want to know more, that link that's at the bottom down there, when I provide the slides to you, that link will lead to the page for all of the career fields that they have certifications for, or at least information on how to get into that career path. Okay. Okay, so how do you enter the market? So this is a very generalized, but it is a really good start. Okay. And so essentially, Salesforce provides free training. Doesn't matter what the career field, it's always free training for Salesforce. That's why I personally love it. And all of the training that Salesforce provides is kind of gamified. They make sure that it worked for people of different learning styles. So if you just like to read and you want to do multiple choice, there's a pathway for that. If you want to be hands-on, there's a pathway for that. If you just want to work straight on your certifications, you can work on a whole path for that. Then they have these things called super badges, which are kind of cool. And super badges are a real big challenge. After you've kind of learned a number of things, you can open up a super badge and basically take this big challenge. It's like hours long, but it's kind of fun if you like to put your hands on it, to say. And so it'll give you a list of requirements, and then it'll tell you, it doesn't tell you how to do it, but then it'll tell you this needs to be done. This is what the client wants. So if you like things like that, which kind of also again lends to consulting, I promise I'm not selling consulting, then it would be something fun. And I'll show you that in a moment. I just don't want to keep switching pages for you guys. Okay. The next one is a register for a Salesforce military account. I'll show you that next. Salesforce military is the most important out of all of this. It's Salesforce's nonprofit give back to military personnel. And again, it's not just US, it's military personnel from all around the world. And they allow you to follow career paths. Like, so when you register and log in, you'll pick a career path that you can change. You're not stuck to it or anything. And what happens is you follow that path, which is a smaller version of the training that's on the Salesforce Trailhead. And it'll be for whatever career path: developer, admin, user experience, cloud developer, anything like that. And then once you finish their path, you have the opportunity to take a class in that path that'll help you towards going to your getting your certification. And then you also get which you don't have to take the course, but if you choose to, you can. And then you also get a free voucher towards that particular certification. So where most people are paying $250 per cert to get certified, we have a lot of opportunities to get a lot of certifications. And really, you only need so many to really kind of get started in Salesforce. But the more you have, the better. Okay. But not willy-nilly, because there's some people that get certified and everything. You can't learn everything. Okay. I really advise getting your certifications and working hands-on if you can. But there's a lot of people who just get certifications because they want it. They're trying to find a position. And sometimes it's not necessarily the best thing. If it does work out, that's great. You have a great memory. You think you're able to do that. That's wonderful. I can't. I'm hands-on. And I know a lot of people in the field who more than likely are. So it's always great to be able to understand the system by working with your basics, which is exactly what I have, which is administrator, developer one, and platform app builder. And that'll get you started in the career field. And you really only need admin in order to start looking for a position. Okay. If you join Salesforce Military, not only do you get the certifications, but there's a really great veteran community, because even though they're all around the world, but they're all over the place and they work everywhere. So some of us are employed, some of us are looking for job, and you know, you can talk and chat with them, and you know, and everything else. And then there are actual employers, so employment opportunities come on there. If Salesforce themselves, if they have employment opportunities that pop up through veteran-friendly employers, they notify you of that. And sometimes you get opportunities to go for free to one of the main Salesforce conferences. So like the developer conference is Trailhead DX, which is pretty cool. And I got a chance to go there my first year in Salesforce Military, and it was not a competition, but you had to kind of talk to them, chat and do a video and things like that. But it was free. Put me in a hotel, sent me to the conference in San Francisco, and it was for a few days, and got a chance to talk to employers while you were there. So it was pretty cool. Which is awesome. And then they give out free gifts sometimes too. So I'll show you one of mine that I've got standing next to me, because Salesforce has really nice. They're not even cheap gifts. Okay. They're really great gifts that they give out. And sometimes they give them out just for making a level when you're training. And that's Salesforce Military. So that's pretty cool. And then Salesforce has a lot of communities, local communities. So wherever you're at, I'm in the Atlanta metro area. So there's an Atlanta developers group, Atlanta admins group. If you're interested in nonprofits, there's an Atlanta nonprofits group. If you're networking like I am, the communities are really great. And so they have a site for that. The Salesforce community in general is great. It's really not hard to get an answer to things sometimes. If people know it, they're willing to give. And that's another thing that I like about Salesforce too, because while I was doing full stack dev, I found it a lot harder to get information out of people sometimes. It was more research than anything else. But you'll find that everybody's a lot of people are career changers as well in Salesforce as well too. So they kind of feel the pain of learning and getting information and things like that. And then if you get a chance, like say you don't get a job right away, and you're looking for opportunities, like I said, the nonprofits are always looking for, you can usually kind of ask, which is what I did. I went to the nonprofit community. I was like, hey, I'm trying to, get some general experience. I do have some dev experience, blah, 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 blah. Can I get some experience working with, with anyone on anything on Salesforce? And that ended up happening for me. And then I also found another nonprofit that helped other nonprofits find technical people. So ended up getting experience on that as well too. So that helped an awful lot. And those badges that I mentioned. So even before I got my certification, doing those badges were pretty helpful, because it shows that you're working, you're training, you're learning, you're doing it hands-on. You have a little profile on Salesforce's Trailhead site once you start training, and you get all these badges. So the badges show up too, and the number of badges make a difference, because once you get to 100, you're considered a ranger. And so they gamify everything, which is kind of cool. Try to make it fun for you a little bit. They know you have to do the training, is a lot of it. So the badges, people become badge collectors. And so once you make it to ranger, and then if you get another 100, people start saying, hey, I'm 2 times ranger, and and all that. But employers actually look at those badges. And I've had them, so I actually put the link on my LinkedIn profile, and and it is, and I've gotten questions on it, so it's been pretty helpful. And then find a mentor for help with your resume and things like that, especially if you're trying to career change. And I feel like that's the same thing for development in general, because I think it's necessary. I went to a boot camp that actually did that. They helped with setting up our resumes and things like that. And I try to pass that along to other people other developers and tech people when they're getting ready to get started, of things that could help with getting your resume up and seen. And so far, that's worked for me pretty much the whole entire time. And I think for us as veterans, it'll work really, really well, because a lot of people really want veterans.
By the
They're hard
way,
workers.
if you're part
Mhm.
of Operation Code, we do have a mentorship program. So, mentorship, you can email us mentorship@operationcode.org. Or if you're on our Slack, you can just hit the / just type / mentor command in any public channel. It doesn't work in DMs or private channels. And then a mentorship form will pop up. So you can go ahead and make a request if you're looking for specific help on any programming language or resume review.
Okay, so we only have a few minutes. Thank you, Cynthia, because I do remember seeing that as well too, and I was trying to wait till I had a little bit more free time in order to sign up for that myself as well too. So thank you for reminding us. I just did a quick little blurb. My day can change at any day, but if you want to know what a day in the life of a dev will look like, right now I'm freelancer, but I kind of gave it to you. It would somewhat similarly look like this if I was working from home, if I'm working from home, but as a consultant, it will probably look like this and maybe a little busier. Okay. So I might, get up in the morning and have some coffee, get dressed, do a little self-care in general. I time block out my calendar to make sure I'm very organized and that I'm getting some rest and some respite and just some free no thinking of tech. And then I might get up from 8 to 8:15 and have a daily stand up with my team where I explain what I worked on the day before and what I'm going to be working on today. Okay. Then I might spend a little bit of time where I still need to go over my calendar and make sure there aren't any changes, checking my emails, reviewing any tasks for the day that I just discussed at that daily stand up, and then start breaking them down into something that might be a little bit easier for me to work in for the day and more accomplishable. And then from 10 to 11, I might have a meeting with a client. They're having an issue. It wasn't even on my task for the day, but they're saying, "Hey, Erin, could you help us with this?" And now I have to take a look at that in order to troubleshoot as well. So after meeting with the client, I then go on to start troubleshooting it and documenting for the client and their next steps and that kind of information. And then I might stop and have a little bit of lunch. I think that's a little bit very big for myself, about an hour, but it's a dream day of the life. No. And then from 1 to 2, I might have another meeting that was scheduled for me. Maybe I have it this particular day and it's with the architect. Consultant, I've typically had one architect, but like I said before, you can have various different types of architects depending on the client. Excuse me. And so that might be an hour long. And then I give myself a deep focus of working from 2 to 5 p.m. for the rest of the day. May go longer. This is just my work day. My work hours. Okay. And where I'm coding, in this case, the client wanted a custom report and a dashboard, and they want me to display it in the customer community for them. They want them to be able to log in, take a look at it and all that. So I start working on the tasks. And those are those tasks that I start talking to my team about from 8 to 8:15 earlier in the morning. And then after that, I try to shut down at the end of the day and shut everything down. Maybe I might check an email or so. Maybe I might respond to one, or two, or three, or six, and then and then I log off for the night and I shut down the computer and I start my day all over again. Okay, so that is pretty much my introduction to Salesforce for you guys today. I feel like there's a lot of information and a lot of talking on my end, and I can't wait to hear your questions. But I've also provided, if you wanted to meet with me or talk with me or find me, my link to LinkedIn, and I have a calendar schedule that shows my availability for the day. You can always click on it and ask to meet me, and it'll show up on my calendar for myself. Okay.
We have one question from Kevin. Do clients have direct communication with developers of the product, or is there a non-tech middleman to coordinate and prevent that?
Sometimes. That is a sometime. I'm going to take myself off of, so you guys, I love making sure people can see my face sometimes. So
I guess it depends on the company, right?
Definitely. So I've worked at one company where which personally I like it. I like to be able to have deep focus if I can. So the less client meetings is possible, but you really need those client meetings if you're trying to understand. And be perfectly honest, you might have a business analyst or a consultant that may not be that familiar with Salesforce. They may be really good at trying to draw out requirements from the client, but if they don't know Salesforce, then you might get caught into that meeting. So when you're called into the meeting, then you're kind of having these conversations back and forth with the client, which is fine as well too. But you have to kind of expect it as well. But then like I said, I had one client where they tried to keep their developers working more than being in meetings. That was one. Then I had one where I had tons of meetings. Another company I worked tons of meetings all day long. And I had to kind of start really blocking off time on my calendar in order to make sure things get done and trying to figure out when to say no and trying to explain to people when they should invite me into these meetings or not. Because, my tasks won't get done and they still have a time period to them.
My advice is to make sure that your project manager is really good at managing scope creep, because deep focused work, like any of us who has to do any kind of heads down work, any time you break away from that to switch to something else, you're losing about a half an hour of time with each task. So if it adds up, at the end of the day, you realize, oh my gosh, I only had 3 or 4 meetings, but then every single time you had to up and switch and go to that meeting and then decompress after to go back to focusing on code, you lost track of what you're doing.
And that's a definite.
Mm-hmm.
That's a definite. That has been the experience. And you may not have control over who the program manager is going to be. They've already been working with the program manager and you got assigned the task. And that's real. Oh, I see a question.
Any chance I can be added to Slack? Yeah, you're probably not part of Operation Code. I'll add the join because I think some folks heard about it through our LinkedIn or social media for the event or on our Eventbrite. You go ahead. Whoops, sorry. It's the join page. I'm going to add it again. If you go to operationcode.org and then /join, you can join for free, attend any of our programs. You do, for the scholarships though, you do have to be transitioning military veteran or military family member. And if there's no other questions, we can. Can you drop the link for the Canva here in the chat just for the folks that aren't in the Operation Code Slack?
Let's see here.
All right, I'm going to stop recording, but thank you all for attending and feel free to continue to grow with us, ask any questions you need, reach back out.